The level of loneliness in a country is measured by the success of the pet business in that country. It's time for you to create life according to your rules. CLATYR, create life according to your rules. Hello everyone, I'm CLATYR and you back with another video about the happy life in the end of the world in the two islands called New Zealand. And as you can understand, New Zealand is a place where the pet business and the grooming business is very, very successful. You see almost everywhere people have pets. Of course, the people who can actually afford or their landlord can approve the pets, but the people who can't have pets, they suffer from even worse loneliness than ever. And that's the thing, that the reason why you see so many people with pets, it's because they're one of the only ways, main ways, to deal with the insane loneliness people are feeling here in this society. And I want to elaborate more about that. When I came here to New Zealand the first years, I was fascinated by the beauty and the nature of the place. And of course, it's still really nice and beautiful. And I just couldn't understand why someone from far away needed to help the mental health people in New Zealand. Like, it's just enough to get out and connect to nature and look at the trees and the smells. That's already enough to feel good. And I just didn't understand why my help is needed so much here in mental health area. And then, then I began to learn, I began to understand that, there are certain things that called magic in life. And I learned that magic is not happening here for many people. For many people, the life is very monotonous, boring, lack of meaning, of miracles, and just, normal everyday routine without anything significant happening in their life. So, when a person comes here with the positive and nice mindset, usually it's a migrant that, yes, he thought that in his own country, in the main country, he has issues and problems, yes? And then he goes on the website and reads online about the corruption index. And then you see, oh, New Zealand is one of the least corrupt countries in the world. It's one of the highest indexes. So, of course I want to go to a country that has less corruption, of course. And back then, the immigrant had been in a country where corruption is very high, and he was fed up with it. But the main thing is, he couldn't appreciate all the best things and the good things he had in his home country, because he thought, oh, if the situation the same in my home country and I'm taking it for granted, this is normal for me, so it must be in the other place. Like, how can be? Because, it's a developed Western country, Of course, the same will be in the other place. Or the person can even not think about the scenario that, yes, there will be maybe less corruption, just temporarily for a while, for a few years. But he didn't think that and take into account that will be other things that quite affect his life. And let's talk about, for example, when a person goes to some kind of event, you know. So a person who is healthy in his mind, he goes to an event, and you know, he allows the magic to happen, you know. He goes somewhere, you expect maybe you'll meet someone and things will go to some other level, and meet someone interesting, or some kind of contact for business, or you know, so some kind of magic will happen, you know, something extraordinary, because that was the normality in the place he was coming from, because he went there to different situations, different events. He went out of the house, and a lot of the time very interesting things happened. He met very interesting people, and then he kind of carried on and moved on with whatever was happening, you know. If it was a woman or a man or a family, yeah. So things kind of happened to him, you know, some business contacts, maybe some interesting job opportunities, conversation that kind of changes perception completely. So magic happened everywhere, all the time, you know. But then he came to New Zealand and is going to events, and people are nice. Oh, you're so nice. Where are you from? Oh, it's so interesting. Yes, let's be friends. Let's get contacts. Let's be in contact. Yes, I'll invite you and I want to introduce you to this person and that person. Yeah? And then the person is excited, all positive. He thinks that it will be the same as life was before in his own country, that people are real. And when they say they're going to invite him and introduce to some people, it will going to really happen. And then he goes, exchange numbers, and then he text a text message and then say, hi, how's it going? This person barely responds. Okay. And then in a few days, the immigrant calls, and then the person don't answer, and then he answered back, I'm busy the next few weeks. And okay, and what about in 3 weeks? Maybe we can arrange something. Yeah, I'll let you know. And then, of course, he disappears. And then the immigrant thinks, oh, that's weird. Oh, maybe something happened to him. Then he goes to the next event. Then he goes to dancing class, yes? And then you see that majority of women there and minority of men. And then he gets really into that, really likes the dancing, and meet different nice ladies, but only for the class. And then, when the class finishes, he notices that, oh, there is no interesting conversation going on. The women doesn't really show interest. They don't stay to chat a little bit after the class. And then he kind of finishing the dance and go home with a very kind of hard feeling on his mind, you know. And then kind of thinking, yeah, what's happened? Maybe something happened. Maybe people have not the right mood, or okay, that's fine. I still believe magic is going to happen, and some interesting conversations or some interesting meeting with people will happen. Okay, yeah, that's all good. Then he meets, then he goes on vegan event, and then meet vegan people over there, and then he meets a really nice lady from East Europe, which is not from Ukraine. And then she looks really nice, and she's raw vegan as him, which is very rare. And then they get into a conversation, and then they exchange phone numbers and contact, and then somehow, you know, they begin to chat and talk. And then the guy usually really likes the lady, and also the lady reciprocates. She kind of chats him back, and they go and walk and meet from time to time. But then after a few months of conversations, the men see that, oh, there is no much progress happening. Like we met already a few times, and then kind of, okay, there is no progress. Okay, so invite her to meet again, and then he tried to escalate things physically, and then she kind of doesn't show any interest in him. And then kind of the man thinks to himself, that's really odd. Like, you know, we usually by this time, yeah, women in my country were definitely interested and at least show some kind of interest to go further, yeah. And it doesn't mean that we need to go home together, yeah, but at least to have some kind of basic physical affection, holding hands, you know. But she's not interested. And yes, she's nice, but she's not perfect. She has her own issues as well, and her own story and difficulties. But that's really odd. Like, why she's not interested? That's really strange. Yes, okay, never mind. And then the immigrant, okay, there is a festival. Oh, festival, it's a great place to meet people and to connect. It's to do some yoga together. And I think, okay, yeah, maybe in the festival the immigrant will go and meet some people and connect, make connections. And then they go into the festival, and you're all excited, you're idiots with positive energy, with excitement, and completely openness to meet new people, new opportunities. Okay, maybe there the magic is going to happen. Then you go into the festival, he dances, he enjoys himself, you try to have some conversations, and eventually see, yeah, people talk here and there, and ask where you're from, but then the conversation doesn't go beyond just a few sentences. There is no chemistry, there is no interest, and besides enjoying the actual events and workshops and the food, there is nothing to do. All right, okay. Then the immigrant thinks, okay, maybe I'll change location. Maybe the big city is very closed off. Maybe it's a not suitability of the city. Okay, let's go completely to different island, to a place where people are very, there's not many people, there are a few thousands. And yeah, maybe there will be some kind of big interest, will be warmth, will be bigger opportunities. Awesome. So he leaves the big city, goes to the south, to a very small place. There are about 6,000 people over there. And then he kind of sees, okay, yes, that's my opportunity. Yes, new job, new place, new environment, yes. He comes with all this positive attitude and energy and his experience, completely open for friendships, ready to invest time and emotions, and open his heart. He's completely ready for it. And then what's happening? He lives in some kind of place that other people live as well. They come and go, but some people are stay permanently. And then when he goes outside, you see, oh, 6 p.m. it's getting a bit darker. There's no one on the streets. That's weird. Then at his workplace, most people are older than him in 20-30 years. That's odd. There is one doctor that is kind of young, but she's still like 6 years old and married. Then I said, oh, that's a nice place to be. And then, you know, the weather and the rains don't stop. And you just go to work, come back to your four walls. And then you begin to think, oh, the immigrants start to think, oh, there is something not right. And then you begin to develop different complexes. You already forgot how it was in the past, that magic happened. He went to different places outside and people noticed him and people showed some interest. People invested in the relationship. People appreciated him if he wanted a relationship. So he could, most odds, if he'll be open, social, smiling, nice, and go outside of his home, some relationship will happen. Something will happen for sure. But he forgot about all that because nothing that he tries doing is actually working. Doesn't matter where you go, if it's a big city, small city, dancing event, big festival, event that is relevant to the same group of interest, if it's like veganism or something else. You see that there is no interest, there is no spark, there is no chemistry, and there is no interest from the environment. Okay, maybe we'll go to a business event. Yeah, about investing, how to make more money. Maybe there we'll find some kind of people with common level of interest. And then he goes to this event, all excited, all positive, all smiling, studied a lot of things in investment that he want to discuss with other people. And people are there very kind of dressed like corporate dress and very serious and also kind of smiling and everything. And then he goes and have a chat with them about investments and stuff like that. Then he comes to one woman and begin to talk to her. And then after 1 minute, she says, "Ah, yes, you are so nice. Let me introduce you to this person." And then you talk to that person, like the immigrant to himself, that, oh, she's probably really interested to grow my social circle. Oh, that's nice. So then she take me to the other person, and then I talk a few minutes with that person, and then that person says, "Oh yeah, let me introduce you to that person. Yeah, that will be." And then you kind of starting to figure out that let me introduce you to this other person is just an excuse to get rid of the immigrant. Yeah, just an excuse. And then eventually, let me introduce you to this one, this one, this one, and then the person eventually ends up alone with no context, with no interest, and with disappointed and sad look because people just rejected him, you know. And then he kind of goes, "Oh, screw that! I don't want to go to all these events anymore. Just complete waste of time." And yeah, and the person kind of understood, "Oh, okay. Just need to leave this place. This place is just horrible. People treat you really badly, and you basically, as an immigrant, invisible there." And then you go overseas. Then the immigrant go overseas, and things are changing. Suddenly, the magic coming back. People show interest. Connections and friendship formed. When people say they're going to invite you, they're inviting him. And things are kind of getting better and better. And the person begins to get alive, get more positive back. And it begins to feel really good. And then he forgot the sadness and the disappointment he had in New Zealand. Yeah? And then he said, "Okay, I just need to close some stuff in New Zealand and I'll be back." And then, paf, pandemic, and then the war. And then he got stuck in this negative loop in a place where people don't see him, don't hear him, and give a complete about him. where magic is not happening, no opportunities, and no hope. And of course, the person degrades into very low hope state. He gets negative, and then people in his environment, some people that he meets says, oh, go on this event, oh, go to sports group, oh, go to festivals, go to church, yeah? And they just have no idea that the person already tried so many things over the years and none of those work. Yes, none of those work. And that person thinks that, oh, something is definitely wrong with him. He has the problem. Yes, he forgot that he just moved to another country, and then in a few months he got lots of friends, he got into a relationship, he was happy, was himself, was fulfilled, yeah? Business opportunities came up, but because of what's happening with the lockdowns and the pandemic, and then the war happened, yes? Already forgot how it feels to be really needed, connected, that people show interest in you. He forgot. So that's probably some of the typical life of immigrants, well, quite a lot of immigrants in New Zealand. And of course, some immigrants that have wife and kids. I'm not talking about the ones who got divorced. The majority of immigrants actually, I think, got divorced in this place, but whoever kept the relationship with their wife that came here initially, most men just keep it mostly for themselves. They closed, they're not interested in developing any friendships, and they just adjusted to the reality of loneliness in this country. So they just basically working most of the time, trying not to think about the mud they are living in. Their interest is very low, and they just functioning. Not happy, just functioning, and just living like a robots and maintaining the basic functions and requirements the society needs. And that's how a lot of immigrants live in this country. And then the immigrant got the answer why there is so much mental illness in this place, why the suicide levels are so high, and why it is not improving but just getting worse and worse. And then after a while the nature became irrelevant, because eventually what makes the country is the people. It's not the trees, it's not the grass, it's mainly the people. And then the immigrant decides to adopt some cats and dogs and accept the fact that he will be completely lonely, and you just accept the reality and stop fighting with it. And then you just go to his work, doing his fake smiles, saying that everything is all right when somebody asks him how he is, when they really don't care, and you just answer, oh, everything is fine, everything is awesome. And then he carries on with his work. He goes home where the pet's waiting for him, and the pets are really giving him the interest and the magic he really wanted, and he walking out the dogs and sitting with the cats, watching TV, finish his day, and then he waiting for his pension at the end of his days. And that's the typical life of a New Zealand migrant. Welcome! It's time for you to create life according to your rules. CLATYR. Create life according to your rules.